good day everyone. My name is Thirrulogarajan Rajendren 263511. First of all, I would like to mention my supervisor Dr. Fadila binti Muhammad Zahari, who helped me a lot to complete this whole research. And not to forget, I would like to thank my examiner Prof. Madia Dr. Muhammad Nazrun bin Muhammad Nawi. Now, I would like to present my poster. So basically, this is my poster. I've stated introduction, problem statement, research objective, methodology, result and discussion, and finally conclusion. I've explained briefly about my whole research in this poster for your understandings. Next, we're moving on to introduction. Now, I would like to explain my introduction. So basically, COVID-19 coronavirus pandemic had a negative effect on the global economy, such as in markets, companies, and also in small and medium-sized businesses, which I narrowed down in my research. As a result, the aim of this article is to examine the actual consequences or else impact of the Malaysian COVID-19 on SME businesses, as well as to identify the effect on the Malaysian economy and the survival strategies of SMEs owners. So basically, this paper make a few recommendations for future studies, business development organization and entrepreneurs. Moving on to problem statement. In my problem statement, I've mentioned few problems that faced by SME owners, such like MCO implementation. Malaysia's government has announced the fourth extension of Movement Control Order (MCO) on COVID-19 outbreak. Closure of government and private premises, limitations of operating hours are the prohibiting SOPs under MCO implementation. There are numerous effects on SME business, such like face a loss of daily profits as a result of a disrupted supply chain caused by the closure of supporting sectors, in addition to a shortage of jobs and a decline in cash reserves. So basically, from COVID-19, the SME owners face a lot of problems and also obstacles to maintain their growth of business and also to bring up their business. In a research objective, I've mentioned this study and the aim to investigate the impact of COVID-19 and the survival strategies during and after the outbreak of COVID-19 from the perspective of small business entrepreneurs, which is SMEs. So the research details in interviews which I've made in Google Meet to interview the two SME owners during the second and third phase of MCO in Malaysia. I would like to mention the research question in the next slide. As we can see here, I've listed two questions. So these are my research question for my whole research. Question 1. What are the significant impact of COVID-19 outbreak to the small business entrepreneurs? And question 2 is, what are their survival strategies in response to the pandemic situation? I've explained more about these answers and the discussion in the next slides. So now I would like to present about my literature review. So this chapter analyzes the SME resources, COVID-19 impact in the world, and the definition of survival and the strategies. So basically, the reference sources for this project paper is found in journals, books, ebooks, previous research papers, and from the internet sites. So basically, this research contain four main aspects, which are SME businesses in Malaysia, effect of COVID-19, impact of small business and the economy, and the survival and the strategies. So first of all, I would like to explain about SMEs business in Malaysia. SMEs are Malaysia main contributors. Small and medium-sized businesses registers 900,000 plus enterprises around Malaysia and 98.5% of all corporate establishment in economic sectors. So I would like to explain about the second aspect. The extensive control of local and cross-border movement involving the closure of local and national and also international business is also affected by global economy, which is the effect of COVID-19 as I stated below. So this information extracted from Smith, Bingham and Hariharan 2020. this slide, I've stated about impacts on economy and SMEs. So the changes of business policies, operation and behavior, demands to look for new resources, development prospects are recognized as key obstacles in terms of survival for the majority SME owners out there, as well as the interviewers I've interviewed also. So basically this information I've extracted from Kasia and Minola 2012, Swartzko 2017, Shade 2019. So now I would like to explain about the survival and strategies analysis, which I extracted from Mahani and Suraya. Throughout the survival, it is recognized as a key resource for organizing business decision making, capacity, competitive advance, and also the performance respectively. So mainly the strategic objective of a companies are to produce and employ valuable to the SME owners itself. In this particular slide, I've mentioned about methodology and I've explained briefly about that. So the purpose of this qualitative study is to gain new and practical insight into the impact of COVID-19 on SME businesses, as well as it linked to the survival business strategies into my research also. Recognizing the severe impact of COVID-19 on the business and the enormous losses sustained as a result of COVID-19 outbreak. Basically, the exploratory was conducted via semi-structured online interview, which is Google Meet. In total of 2 SME owners were interviewed, and I would like to mention the non-probability sampling technique was used to select the respondents. And for your information, all the data collected via schematic analysis to identify forms and exploring their implication. So basically the reason I chose them because I worked with them for past few years. Now I would like to explain about the respondent details. So in this respondent detail table, I've mentioned about respondent, gender, business experience, types of business, business location, paid up capital, annual turnover, and number of staff. So the respondent 1 is female. She had experience for 8 years. The type of business she was doing is divine and skincare. The location at Kajang, and the paid up capital she used was 1,000 ringgit, and now she's earning more than $1 million per annum, and the number of staff she is having is 7. So respondent 2, female also. She had experience for 5 years and she is doing delivery business in Sumenye. Her paid up capital was different, a bit more than respondent 1, which is 5,000 ringgit, and her turnover is 76,000 per annum. So the number of staff she having is 2. Moving on to the next slide. In this slide, I've mentioned about research result from my research question I've mentioned earlier, the impact of COVID-19 on SME businesses. During COVID-19 pandemic, the 2 participants are experiencing operational difficulties, cash flow problems, access to stimulus packages, and supply chain disruption. 2 of the SME owners interviewed in these studies do not have a physical store and rely on logistics supply from their suppliers. Thus, their activities were forced to halt due to existence of MCO, and they were burdened by unforeseen operational cost. The next slide would be the survival strategies. As we can see for the survival strategies, according to the both respondents, the expert in this field of new survival techniques include financial, innovation, and supply chain strategies that make use of all critical and strategic resources under their control to maintain and grow their business as well. Discussion slide, I've mentioned and stated deeply about the impacts of COVID-19 to the SME business owners that I've interviewed. First and foremost, operation disruption. MCO implementation after COVID-19 period become the major factor for their business to face difficulties, stated by respondent 1. And delivery service industry doesn't affect much on MCO period, stated respondent 2 from my remarks. The next, cash flow problem. All the staffs will remain paid because the fully monthly wages, even the financial condition is not stable, stated by respondent 1. While profit affected because the distance and timing became the limitation factor for respondent 2. Moving on to access to stimulus package. Problem with application of government stimulus package causes to financial difficulties that faced by respondent 1. But the benefits gained from government stimulus package helped upgrade the business for respondent 2. And finally, the supply chain disruption. Packaging items delayed from suppliers on outbreak period held for respondent 1, and delivery service is not related for supply chain, as we know, because respondent 2 is doing delivery service. This slide I've explained about survival strategies. So survival strategies are described by the SME owners in this section. During the MCO crisis, there are three similar techniques used to keep them afloat actually. So the first strategy would be financial strategy. Business flexibility plan to keep financial situation afloat during inculcation for respondent 1, while for respondent 2, the influence of government stimulus package as yet to support the SME's financing plan. Moving on to innovation strategy. Innovation in technological side, both companies are working to adopt electronic and social media marketing for respondent 2, while for respondent 1, here's the best part, respondent 1 use broadcasting advertisement on television and radio, and these are the methods of integrating innovation in technology actually for aggressive marketing approach. Finally, the supply chain strategy. Effective thinking in business is the important key to overcome the problem like supply chain disruption, mainly for respondent 1 who suffered a lot in COVID-19 pandemic period, while for respondent 2 there is a need, customers need is the priority for delivery service told by respondent 2. As the recommendation of my studies, according to my findings, essential business sales and income were not adversely affected because they could continue to operate during the first stage of the MCO. As a result, it is recommended that more empirical studies be conducted in order to better understand the long-term implication of COVID-19 and the new norms limits on the long-term empowerment of SME owners out there. Here we go for the conclusion part. In summary, the SME business obstacles during the immediate quarantine measure are classified as operational issues, which is disruption of operation or disruption of supply chain, and the financial issues, which is cash flows problem and the access to stimulus package. So basically, the key themes of modern survival tactics according to both respondents are mainly about financial strategy, innovation strategy, and finally the supply chain strategy that make use of all important and strategic resources under their control. This study also understands the contributes to SME strategies on impact of COVID-19. So this summarizes my whole research. If you have any suggestions or query, please don't hesitate to contact me. I'm Thiru here. Call or WhatsApp 01669222912. Email therojan@gmail.com. Your feedback is always welcome. Thanks for watching my presentation video. Much appreciated. Thirrulogarajan Rajendren 263511 signing off.